there is something that projects enjoyment in his performance. He has certainly a very sure command of the piece, and it's really nice to see you play this work. Perhaps the main aspects with of course, the format of today, we cannot discuss every single detail, but the most important thing for me is to address elements in this work, particularly in the first part, the andante, that have to do more with the expression or manner of speech. I love to say this because Mendelssohn is certainly a composer that wanted the piano to sound as vocal. He wanted to sound an instrument of poetry, an instrument that can express moods, emotions, and so all of these things, although they sound like very general terms, but actually we can address them in details, and there are certain very important things that enable the piano to become from a percussive instrument, because there is a nature in the piano, or a curse in the piano, that is still a percussive instrument, and that's no good because it doesn't really serve the lyricism in the music. And we have to make the piano from a percussive instrument to an instrument that can express the whole range of emotions, like the human voice or other orchestral colors. Sometimes we think of strings, sometimes we think of woodwinds, all the kind of color that we have at our disposal. So yes, Mendelssohn also is famous for having developed a genre of pieces called songs without words. He wrote a very, very big collection of these works for piano, that they basically are song pieces that should sound just as lyric, as an art song, but without the words. And to me, this opening andante is a perfect example of a song without words. And so we have to find certain elements that can make the piano sing more, with more of this beautiful legato sense of phrasing. And also, when we say expression, that's a very generic word, which is very difficult to define. But in general, one thing that we can say for sure about what makes a music expression is how we are able to really give something time to speak, to be expressed. Just like when we say something very important in the context of human speech, we actually take time. It's about variations in the time, variation in the tone. And all of these things really apply very much in how we enable phrases to speak, to say something very special. So it's by acquiring this flexibility in the timing, which we learn always to play, to use the metronome, to have a good sense of timing, but then we realize that timing, when it comes to music like this, actually means something else. It means being able to also bend, stretch the time, to have this kind of control. It's like give and take. And so it's this art of flexibility, or tempo rubato, that I would like to delve a little bit with regard to the opening section. So, for example, if I may, the opening, it's already, it's an introduction within the introduction, if you will, because of course the main theme starts on bar 4, but then we have also sort of an introductory music which sets a mood for this beautiful theme to come. And this is very important because within this we have also very indicative hairpins and cues that Mendelssohn is giving us in terms of taking time and moving the time. For example, this opening as a lot of what I call inflections. So.
그래서 조금 더 이게 인트로덕션이 앞에 그 네 마디 인트로덕션 있는 만큼 그 부분에 멘델스존이 이런 다이내믹이나 헤어핀을 통해서 조금 더 타이밍을 주고받고 할 수 있게끔 해놓은 장치들이 있는데 그런 것들을 조금 더 설명을 좀 있겠습니다.
Yes, and notice that I'm not just taking the time. For example, sometimes these hairpins point a little bit of broadening, maybe. Other times they point more moving forward. It's again a balance between the two. So you can create a little bit more of a mood here. By mood, that's.
조금 더 그런 헤어핀들이 있을 때 어쩔 때는 조금 더 갈 수도 있고 어쩔 때는 조금 더 넓어질 수도 있고 어쩔 때는 조금 이렇게 흐를 수도 있고 그런 것들을 좀 다양하게 이렇게 무드를 좀 제기해요.
And another very important thing for pianists, which I often find myself mentioning in master classes or regular lessons when I'm not teaching my students, the piano is an instrument that has two pedals. I'm saying this for actually three pedals, but I will not get into the middle one because that would open another can of worms today. So, but it's not important as much as the right pedal, also the damper pedal, and the left pedal, which is called the soft pedal. But in reality, this so-called soft pedal, this is not a very good term for this device because it's not just something that we use to play soft, but it's something that in piano playing we use to find different colors, more intimate sonorities, and there is something very abstract in what this pedal does because it just shifts the position of how the hammer hits the strings, and this already enables just new textures, new possibilities that we feel from the piano that inspire our imagination for the sound. And of course, in terms of pianissimo playing, I would definitely encourage the use of the una corda pedal, the left pedal, because it would certainly create very much more subtle and I would say even abstract texture. So this is something I'm saying also in general. Thank you.
오른쪽 페달 같이.
Yes, so again, to me this is actually a better sound, but I will talk more regarding the direction of the music. So again,
방향성에 대해서 얘기해 주실 거예요?
Another very important thing in romantic music is that when we see these so-called hairpins, they don't just apply to simple crescendo and diminuendo of sound, but they also indicate variety in the direction of music. Sometimes they imply to move forward, sometimes they imply to take time. And this is something very explicit that Mendelssohn writes even in the opening bar. He writes literally this crescendo and diminuendo in terms of hairpins, which to me are more representative of a crescendo and diminuendo in terms of timing. So I would play something like this. which first I'm giving and then and taking it.
So 낭만 음악에서는
Yes, so again, there is a difference between good sense of timing but also again having this more of a like conversation within phrases and all the elements of the music. So when you play this, even just for fun, can you try for me to just maybe sometimes move a little bit toward the high note and then linger a little bit on that? So that we feel like the music is really like breathing. Let's try. I will guide you a little bit. So, can we take from the beginning? Start very softly. Nice. Good, let's continue. Very nice, thank you. Just a couple of little things. One again concerns a little bit of the direction of the phrasing and the tempo. The other one is also when we have ornaments in music, like this turn. This again, coming from a composer that wrote also so much vocal music, we need to also think of this more vocally, in the sense that if we sing something like this, an ornamentation, we would never sing it so, mi, si, do, re, do, re, mi. We would sing si, do, re, do, si, do, re, mi. A little bit more graceful and in a more lyrical manner. So now here you can again let the music a little bit breathe. First you move here. So all we're talking about here is just this balance between give and take, push and take back, which is really the essence of romantic music. This is obviously, we are already entering into the heart of romantic music, although this is early romantic, but still, this music needs this language of whether we call it rubato, we call it inflections, but it's very much a fundamental manner of speech. So would you like to try a little bit from here and see if we can give this phrase a little bit more flexibility from the main melody? More delicate, maybe. Very legato. fortissimo, and this is the highest note. Here, speaking about the relevance of this music with the world of singing, this is like, hearing a soprano sing, for example, a melody. This is like a high note. So you have to be a little bit more celebrating this high note and enjoy it a little bit like a good singer would enjoy this high note. First of all, I would like you to try this. So a little bit more time, take time more on the fortissimo. Shall we try it now, the second step? Right from because we have a new color, totally new color. This is we have to think more about like portraits or sort of like musical portraits.
여기서 약간 다른 캐릭터가 등장하는 것처럼 조금 더 다른 분위기를 만들었으면 좋겠다고 하시기 때문에 왼쪽 편을 같이 쓰는 게 좋을 것 같고.
Yes, think of something more melancholic here. The story changes a little bit.
이야기가 바뀌는 것처럼.
This is like. So it's not as serene as. A little bit more, anxious in a way. Let's try maybe right from there. Yes. Gesture, so you have this noisy, you can also stay a little bit longer. I see somebody wrote portato. That's in the sense of staying a little bit longer on the high note. And now we have another change. Again, this is another portrait. So this piece is short but has a lot of moods going on within it. And each change requires a specific color, specific character that needs to be more clear, and also we need to tell a story to the listener with this piece. Now, we can also, with the time that we have, we should perhaps work also on the presto, which is the second part of this piece. And in a general sense, again, it was very good playing, very secure and good articulation, clarity. Perhaps this word capriccioso, I think that Mendelssohn intended it more in the Italian meaning of the word, which, if we translate it into English and then to Korean, so into English, capriccioso is something like more playful, with more humor, with more wit. And so again, it was very solid playing, but we have to find something a little bit more playful, perhaps, both in the dynamic and also in in the gestures, in the musical phrasing, that there is something that can be a little bit more projecting more of this humor in some places, and in other places also Mendelssohn reminds us of that he's this great melodist, and he writes again another of this beautiful. But of course, most of the piece is characterized by this very light presto, which is again a very humorous piece, mostly. So let's try to search a little bit more for this extra layer of pianissimo. And also later, I would encourage you to try using the una corda for this special effect of a very, very translucent pianissimo. So can we try it from the top? The presto leggero. Maybe here I will also bring out more, always this entrance. A little bit more, you know, like it's a sort of fugato style where you have all these entrances, and it's like, imagine that each one of them wants special attention. Here's so they could have a little bit more of a bite, rhythmic bite. Then here we have, so it's good that you bring out the moving melody here, but I wouldn't forget about, this is also important, because if we play, it sounds a little bit funny because we don't have the downbeat. So we still need a little bit more of the. So this is the main element. So a little bit more clarity, like fireflies. Sorry, maybe I say too much. Would you like to give it a try? See, there is the snare, a little bit more of always very, very clearly articulated. Good. Let's try it from there, please. Yes, so since this piece repeats quite a lot, maybe you could also do sometimes, instead of always using the same formula, like maybe you could also the opposite. Lighter, it's nice also in contrast with the accent. Can be also sometimes done more playfully. I like what he does the first time. The problem is that if we use the same thing multiple times, then what should be fresh, what is fresh the first time, then becomes actually a little bit predictable. And in music, we want things to be always very fresh, more like as if we are creating them on the spot. So we should never stick to the same thing, even when it's good, but over and over. Maybe let's do a little bit more of this section. You want to play a little bit from before? Yeah, sorry, one more time. The music could breathe a little bit more, especially since you are introducing a totally new element, which we don't expect very much in the context of a piece that's so, again, virtuosic and very spirited. But then we have this, all of a sudden, we introduce this cantabile melody. So I will actually take a little time to introduce this beautiful melody. The timing needs to be adjusted a little bit for the sake of creating this, conveying this sense of breath, which feels very good when we listen to music, and we feel that we breathe with it. Can we try one more time? This, if you can space a little bit of this new idea. Articulated and in tempo. But let's try this other so this is a little bit more legato. working with you. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.